Welcome to the lesson on describing data. We're going to be going over frequency tables, frequency distributions. Really, just in this lecture, we're going to be going over frequency tables and graphic presentations of qualitative data. So by the conclusion of this lecture, you're going to be able to summarize qualitative variables with frequency and relative frequency tables, and also you're going to be able to represent those in bar charts and pie charts, and you're also going to be able to interpret those charts as well. So first of all, what is a frequency table? A frequency table is a group of qualitative data in a grouping of qualitative data into mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive classes showing the number of observations in each class. Remember, qualitative data is not numeric. So you're taking non-numeric data and you are putting them into mutually exclusive categories. This means that the data can fit into only one class. So in this particular situation, that's a frequency table of vehicles sold in the last month by Applewood Auto Group by location. So in this situation, say you couldn't have both Waco and Texas because Waco is in Texas, therefore Waco, the numbers in Waco would also be in Texas. So Kane can't be in Olean, can't be in Sheffield, can't be in Tionesta. All of these have to be mutually exclusive and can't overlap. Okay. Also, it has to be collectively exhaustive. This means that there's a class for each value. So if you have, a dealership or a city that only sold one car, you still need to have that one up there to demonstrate that. Okay, so constructing frequency tables. To construct a frequency table, you need to first sort the data into classes. In this situation, the class is the location. And you're going to count the number in each class and report the class frequency. And you might start counting and you might realize, oh, this doesn't really work well to report by this. And you might be like, okay, I need to report by city. And you realize that your data gets really bogged down by reporting by city. Or you report by state and you realize, oh, this really doesn't give me a representation of, where these were actually sold. And so you determine, okay, I need to report by county. And then you count the number of each class and report it as a class frequency. Then you can convert each frequency to a relative frequency. A relative frequency is taking the class frequency and comparing it more or less to all of the numbers or all of the observations in the entire set. So if, for instance, 51 cars were sold in Kane, you need to compare the 51 to the total number of observations. Okay, so and the way that you organize this graphically is in a bar chart. A bar chart shows the frequency, 51 cars sold in Kane, 40 cars sold in Olean, 42 cars sold in Sheffield, or 44 cars sold in Sheffield and 42 cars sold in Tionesta. And you might be saying, oh, but that's a quantitative variable. You're counting the number of cars. But we're not counting the number of cars, really. What we're counting is the number of observations of location of those cars. And so we're looking at the qualitative, data of the location of that car. So that's really important to remember there. So once you organize it into the bar chart, you can also, that reports the frequency of occurrences, but you also have the ability to do a relative frequency. And the way that you do a relative frequency is you can graphically represent that with a pie chart. Okay, so let's take a look at this pie chart really quick. I did this in Excel a little bit earlier. Maybe I should... Here, I'll get rid of these. So delete. We'll cut that. Okay, so 51, 40, 44, and 42. And so we're going to go right here. We're going to go insert, pie chart, let's make it pretty looking. There we go. Let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. Not really. Okay, so this is all well and good, but I still have no clue. There we go. I still have no clue what the relative frequencies are. I see how they're split up in this bar chart, but if I want to know what their actual percentages are, I need to compute that. So I go like this, equals sum, and you guys should know how to do this from your previous course. And then I do equals divided by, let's see, 28%, 28.8%, and then 22.5, 24.8, and 23.7% are the relative frequencies for each of these classes. Okay, so getting back to that, see that there. So, and that is a pie chart. So a pie chart shows the proportion or the percentage of each class and how it represents as compared to the total number of frequencies. So the whole circle is a 100%. And remember we said mutually exclusive, and then the other thing that we said there was collectively exhaustive. So if it wasn't collectively exhaustive, then it would not add up to 100%. If it was not mutually exclusive, then it would add up to more than 100% in this pie chart. But because it's collectively exhaustive and mutually exclusive, the pie chart represents 100%. And you use this to compare relative differences in the percentage of observations for each of the qualitative variables. So here they look at the percentage of sales by automobile type. So you have sedans here for this dealership comprise 40%. You see it starts at 0 and goes 25%, 40%, okay? And then up to 70%. So 70% minus 40% equals 30%. So 30% is SUVs, 85 minus 70 is 15% compacts, 95 minus 85, 10% trucks, and then 5% hybrids. And so this pie chart can really do a great job graphically representing the relative differences in these variables. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us in this. Hopefully you guys learned by the conclusion of this lesson how to do a frequency distribution or a frequency table, the frequency table, and then also how to graphically represent the frequency table, and then how to put that into a relative frequency pie chart. The frequency table, I didn't really mention that quite as much. This is the frequency table. There's 51 occurrences, 40 occurrences, 44 occurrences, 42 occurrences, and this is the relative frequency table right there. So you guys know how to do that, and go off and conquer the world.